Hello, everyone. How is everyone doing? Welcome to another round of Knowledge Labs. And we have another amazing guest, Veronica Lanza. How are you? All the way from Peru.
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you to WebStop, and thank you for this amazing initiative which is the Knowledge Labs. I have followed some episodes, and it's really interesting, and it's so nice to meet new colleagues all around the world.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And it's just exciting to have, for the first time as a guest, we actually have a videographer. So again, this is one of the things that we're trying to do at Knowledge Labs is we're not just sticking to one genre. We're not just sticking to photography. We're not just sticking to wedding photography. We really try and diversify our guests so that the clients that we have can really get a full breadth of who they are, what they do, what they specialize in, whether it's drone, anything else. So lovely to have a videographer. I'm excited about this because I don't call myself a videographer. Obviously, we've done some video before, but I'm more of a photographer. So I'm personally really excited to just have a discussion with you about the videography side of things. Obviously, we'll discuss the photography, but in a nutshell, how are you? How are things in Peru? I know obviously with COVID, I don't want to spend too much time on that, but I still feel like we should talk about it for a few minutes. How is everything going in the country?
We are facing another crisis because we went out from golpe de Estado, a civil war, not civil war, like a taken of the coup d'etat. I don't know how you say it in English.
No, coup d'etat. No. Yep.
Yeah. And so we have like a very quick new president, and actually now we're facing the real elections, and there is all an extreme right wing politic
goodness
or
me.
an extreme left wing. So we are in this.
So there's no middle. Everything's extreme left and right. Goodness me, that's
not only for the COVID situation, which is very difficult here, as you know, health issues are a really basic problem of Peru. So along with the pandemic, it's very difficult for people to access hospital or health service all over the country, no? And for what concern our job or our sector, I think it's like a big push to improve creativity, to be able to spend more time like planning or thinking or doing things without moving, unless whether now things are changing because they open up almost all the productions and photography.
So that was going to be one of my questions. Obviously, I know I've been reading obviously about the different countries. I know Peru got hit pretty hard with the second wave. I didn't realize that they're opening up production already. Do you yourself feel comfortable doing productions on a medium scale, I guess, if you can call it that? Because I've obviously seen your work and the kind of work that you do, that you don't just have always one person with you. It can be on a larger scale, it can be on set, so you need more people around you. Are you comfortable with what's going on in terms of starting that up? How do you feel about that?
I live in a bubble. I'm Italian, I'm in Peru, but I live in a bubble, which means that I don't really follow television like news and newspaper. Otherwise, I will be terrified of going out and having a walk. So I guess that by basic protection, like the mask, and of course, if it's, I have been, participating in like cinematography and commercial production, which are the biggest scale here in Peru. And both are very careful with the test, like the COVID test before getting into set.
I was going to ask, do you need to I presume you have to get tested pretty much all the time, and your crew?
Yes, all the time. But sometimes it happened. I just heard that it happens. They buy like really cheap tests, so
just to pass it.
All the crew got with COVID, but fortunately nobody really felt very sick, no? But this can happen also, so you have really to invest in health and in prevention, COVID prevention.
Understood. Well, for those that don't know let's say this is the first time that they've met you, this is the first time that they're getting to know who you are. Do you have something, you know, if someone's never met you before, how would you describe yourself, what you do? Maybe you can share some of the work that you have. Take it away.
Yes, I think for the people who don't know me, which I think are a lot of people,
I don't know. I think a lot of people know who you are and what you do.
I am very multifunctional. I mean, I am basically doing any kind of production, since photography until filmmaking, taking part also in the film industry here in Peru. I have worked for very small brand until very big brand, till I don't know, Claro. Next week I have a shooting with Adidas for a campaign that is called Run for the Oceans, and I'm making the photographic campaign of it. Then and on Monday I have a commercial. I will fly a drone for Claro, which is the team, the telephone company.
Mm-hmm.
And I also worked for very big events such as the Olympic game of Rio de Janeiro. In 2006, I've been covering the
I saw that. That was great.
Yes, that was great, really. And it was really amazing to, you know, I can still remember when I went down the Maracanã on the field. And it was the first day that the press present the photographers, no? So you have like, I was the only woman among 25 of the best photographers of the world. That
oh my goodness.
Allowed to be part of the ground, you know, because there is photographer on the ground, photographer on the stadium, and everybody have a really small space to move. But I was working for Balic, which has been the director, no, of all the opening ceremony. So he chose me and another Italian guy to make his cover, but all the other were writers, were people from, you know.
That's insane that it was all
a really huge guy with a lot of cameras, and I was like, oh my God, I'm really happy to be here. I'm really like emotional, no, because you're starting to hear the -10, -8, no?
The build up.
And the guy was like, don't worry, for me too. This is my 20th Olympic Games, like some.
Oh my God. Wow.
Like, okay. But it's always emotional, so it's okay. It's not important that it's your first one.
No, but I'm still shocked. I'm still shocked by your statement that you were the only woman. That just on the ground. That sounds ridiculous.
Yes.
No, I understand, but it's still, I still find that a weird statistic in today's world. I would think I didn't even cross my mind.
I don't know.
A lot's changed in 5 years.
But yes, there were not many women at all. No,
that's
maybe the major broadcaster, no, like I don't know.
BBC, Reuters, ESPN.
But it's very not so common to. It's, you know, it's like the film industry. There is always
more of a barrier.
A major number of men in the industry, and because it always has been like this, and just recently more women are, you know, getting into photography and video maker, maker and cinematography, and so slowly they're trying to get into the field a little bit like what I did in Maracanã. No, it was nice. I mean, I think it's important.
Did you feel that there was any discrimination during that time, or were they sort of wondering why you were there? And I find that just so ridiculous.
I had really a big fight, like not with words, neither with hands, but like mentally, because there is one person who is all the time during all the ceremony and all the rehearsal looking at you and all the 24 photographers there, not to move an inch from where he told you to be.
Oh, so this is like the organizer.
Because also Rio was really like huge organization with, you know, thousands of extra actors, dancers, so they're moving all around, and you have to move a little bit to get that angle.
Of course, yeah. Yes. Which so let's talk
really. I have to say that I didn't respect so much the rules, and that made me made me have all these beautiful pictures, because I didn't stay on the field. I went inside there, and I could have various angles where the other photographer couldn't.
So let's talk gear. What were you shooting on at the time? Canon 5D, probably 5D Mark IV.
No, at the time it was a 5D Mark III. I had two 5D Mark III with grand angular. I forgot my English. Like a 1635.
And
24 105.
2470.
Yeah, and then I had like a big zoom, a 70-2000. And also 50mm, but I never use it. I mostly use the wide angle and the zoom, because
I would think for something like that you would not be using primes too much. You want to have that flexibility of the zoom lenses, that you can be in one place and get multiple shots without having to change lenses all the time, because so much is going on, so much is happening around you. You need to be very reactive, I would think.
Totally reactive. And also my colleague, which is which is another ambassador of Stop Gear. He is Italian too, and he's following many Olympic games. We went together up in the Maracanã, and he's like, watch my back. So it's like, okay, what are you doing? No, I'm just fixing. I'm just putting the camera there, and I program it for 1 week when there was the opening ceremony, starting to shoot like in
time lapse. Yep.
Yes. So he's very mountain expert, so he has to know all the grip and stuff to do it. And he left it just in the center of the upper
section.
Upper area of and at some time there was a guy of security. He's like, what are you doing here? Like, no, nothing. I'm just waiting for my colleague. We're just setting
up the shot.
And he was there on his knees with all the security cables, like fixing the camera. And
how did he deal with the battery? Because obviously if he's leaving there for a week shooting, probably every 10, I don't know, every minute, every 10 seconds, or
switch it on the day of the ceremony. And because it's a time lapse, it was saying to the camera, just shoot
every 10 seconds.
Every 10 seconds for like 4 hours. I guess the battery lasted, and he had 2 extra batteries. No, it was a Canon too. So
Canon batteries, they always do a pretty decent job of lasting a long time. I shoot on the phase, and it drains a lot quicker. But do you have you had something presented for us that you can maybe share some of the work that you've done, or
it would be awesome. I don't know. It would be interesting to share my video reel.
Yeah, absolutely. Seen some of the mini documentaries that you've done, as well as documentaries. Let's continue talking gear a little bit more. So when you're doing video, what is your preferred? I know there's 2 camps. There's an RE camp, 3 camps. There's the RE, the Reds, and then Super 35s, everything else that's more sort of the DSLRs, the Sonys. Where do you fit in? How do you choose? Is that the client that's deciding, we really want to have this kind of look, then you go for an RE Alexa Mini LF or a Red Komodo? How do you choose the gear and all that stuff? Is that dictated by you or the client?
Yes, when you work for in commercials or in movies, of course, the director of photography suggest the camera you would like to shoot on, but it's always a question of budget. Whereas for my production, where I have clients, my own clients, so I don't have to go through, huge budget and discuss it with several areas. It's just more direct. If I can, I go for a red or for a Harry, But most of the time, I shoot with a Sony.
Yeah, 7.0.
Okay, yes, and it's doing pretty well with the size lenses, and it's really, very handy for all the difficulties of my kind of work, because I rarely do indoor or kind of set work. Most of the time it's outdoor. You have to travel with it. You have to be like not all the time. You can produce it, so you have to just register what is going on, and they really need to be flexible and to be fast. And I don't have too much time of producing. For example, the other day I went to film a new sailing boat that they just delivered here in Peru. It's the first time this sailing boat comes to Peru. It's called the Sunfast 3300. I don't know if anybody here it's passionate about sailing. And you are on another little yacht, that follows the sailing, and you have to be very quick. You cannot use a tripod because the boat is
too much movement.
So I use a stabilizer, which can be a rowing or a crane.
Well, and I was gonna ask you about that, because obviously with the beauty with the Sony is that you can just put it on a Ronin 2S. You can have it on some sort of gimbal head where you can get into certain environments that you just can't get to with a larger camera with much larger lenses. So it really depends, I guess, on the kind of work that you're doing and the environment that you're in. That probably will dictate, like you said, the kind of gear that you use.
Yeah, I always say you don't really need, the most expensive camera or
very true. Very true.
I could buy or afford right now, because this year went quite well, a new camera, but most of the time when I ask this to myself, because many people or colleagues, look, the new Sony or the new Red, or no, the Red Commodore, the one that goes in your hand. But then I have to think about what I really need, and I need really something really practical, that the battery don't last quite a lot, that don't use like 8K or 12K or a lot of archive, because it's really difficult later to have so many hard disks and then conversion, and really all the process starting from a huge camera is all the process of post-production is going to be more difficult and more heavy and more. So I'm a one woman. Sometimes I make this post when I say one woman filmmaker, because sometimes I just do myself everything. I just light up the scene and film, edit and post-produce it. Sometimes I go with an assistant. When projects are bigger, or have more budget, I can make a team of photography with sound technician, an assistant, a camera assistant.
Yeah, it depends on every job, and it's funny that you just mentioned that, because me and my team, we're in the same boat. Whenever we have large production, we will rent out a Red or an Alexa, but we're at the point now where, exactly like you are, literally going through the same process. Should we get a new camera? I mean, if you look at the Blackmagic 6K, for the price point, that is a phenomenal purchase. That is it's an amazing camera. The color space is very similar to the Ari, so it's not like, when I said about the two cams, that Ari has a certain look and feel to it, a lot more cinematic, whereas Red is a little bit more raw. The Blackmagic is a lot more like Ari, whereas then again, you look at the Red and the Komodo and the price point for that. I mean, for $6,000 to get a Red Super 35, that's a pretty good deal, shooting 6K. So it really depends on where where is this content going to live? Like you said, is the client requesting that because they really need to have it in 6K because it's going to go on a huge electronic billboard or whatever that is. So it's just that question of, what do you do with it? Where is that final product going to live? And then not only that, if you go for a more expensive camera, it just comes with so many more attachments and additions that you have to purchase that they don't really throw that in there. So yeah, it might cost 24,000 to get, or 30,000 to get an Alexa, but you have to buy this, and this, and every mag is more expensive. So we're still trying to decide if we should just go for get another Sony and be very fluid with it with a Ronin, or just get a Komodo and get a little bit more upscale. But that's a tough call. I don't know. I'd love to get other people's take on that if they're in the same boat, how they feel about the kind of gear that's coming out. And everything's getting cheaper as the sensors are getting better. You can shoot in better light, and they're getting cheaper. So I saw in your work that you do a lot of drone work. Let's touch on drone work for just a little.
I was just speaking of the drone because the same situation, the same evolution is
with the drones. Exactly.
Drone. You remember at the beginning they were like huge. You needed two people.
I still have it.
You still have it. You have it.
There's no point of selling it because right now you'll get nothing for it. But I actually just bought myself. That's why I want to get your opinion on it. I just got the new Air 2S, which I love. I think it's absolutely fabulous, and I'd love to get your take if you played around with it. I'd love to get your take on that.
The sensor is really good, no?
Yeah, it's the 1-inch Hossi sensor. It's amazing. The pixels are fatter, so it's not, even though it's still a 20 megapixel photo that you get out of it, because I do more of the photography side of things. I know that the Mavic has a 60.
Hasselblad lenses on that too, or not?
It's not it's a Hossi sensor. It's just the sensor. The lenses don't change on that. So it's the Hossi sensor technology in it. I know the Mavic does 64 megapixels, which is I think 64 or 47, one of the two, which is insane for a drone. But again, we're talking about the technology in terms of the pixel wells and how deep they are. I think the 21 is good, especially with the Hasselblad sensor in it. But which drone do you have?
I just made a book, not made the book. I just participated in a book, which is important, the resolution of the picture.
Yeah, of course.
Because most of the time now we are using drone for filming, for video that are ending up in YouTube or
exactly.
Instagram or Facebook, and they will go maximum 4K, But when it comes to picture, you really need a lot of definition in the picture, in the resolution of your drone. And I had the previous one of yours, which is the DJI Mavic Pro Platinum. So far they're printing it, and the photographer, which is my friend, who did the photography of the book, is really happy about it. He told me that the pictures are amazing. And I shoot from 500 meters up there, like a zenithal shot of a temple of a ruin in the desert of Peru, and the quality and the contrast, and you can even see, the sand that is surrounding the temple. I mean, I'm really, sometimes surprised by how far we can take this technology.
And it's only gonna get better. I mean, the sensor is only gonna get larger. The battery life is only gonna get longer. The drone itself, I mean, my old drone was in this gigantic Pelican. I took it all the way to Madagascar. It was a nightmare to carry. It was a nightmare. I mean, the footage was great, but it's so much hassle. Whereas now I literally have it in a tiny little, something no bigger than this. Maybe a little bit bigger, obviously, but it's little. It's like manageable. Exactly, it's like a pouch. And again, like we talked with the video, it depends where these photos are going to live. If they're just going to live in a book, I think that's brilliant and perfectly fine. The resolution will be fantastic. Obviously, you can't blow it up, a 48 by 72. You're going to see that breakdown in the quality of the file. So again, it depends. Is it just in a book or on Facebook? It's perfect. It's absolutely brilliant. You don't have to hire a helicopter or do any of that. For me, I print my images, and I print them very large. So I don't do any drone photography. Sorry?
How large are your prints? Or how large?
So the largest I can print in one sheet is a 48 by 72 inches.
Okay.
So here's an example of one. That's a pretty large print of a fly. So they can get pretty large, and that's why for me resolution is crucial, and that's why I don't do my photography from a drone if I know that I'm going to be printing it. I get a helicopter or a plane.
Yes, that's correct. But it's amazing also. I don't know if the stability of this drone that you have now changes between this heavy helicopter you had before and now. Is it the same stability?
You mean comparing the drone to what it's like in a helicopter or a plane?
No, the drone you had before, which is like an helicopter.
Oh, sorry. Yes. I mean, the heavier one is obviously going to be more stable in windy conditions, but from the research I've done on this new drone, they've improved the motors that it's meant to be almost as stable as the one that I previously had, which was a few years old. So it's a lot smaller. The blades are a lot smaller, but it can still withstand that sort of the high winds.
They're powerful. I'm asking you this because I have been facing very strong winds in the northern part of Peru for this book, because most of the location were ruins or travel location, touristical locations, and they were really they called it the windy part of Peru, and sometimes I almost lost it because I pushed the drone until the very end of the battery, and when I wanted to bring it back,
didn't have enough
to run after him. But it really surprised me because the wind were pushing me. So when you really realize that the wind is pushing you, and the drone is doing
can you imagine what it's up at 300 feet up in the air or 400 feet?
They're really powerful. Yes, I think that the technology is going towards that, no? But yes, once again, I think I remember two friends of mine. One friend of mine told me, just stick with the camera that you more dominate, which I really like as an advice, no? Because also photographer usually say this, no? Why I'm changing my camera if I'm still understanding it, I'm still, like living with it, and or she's doing great for me. So you really have this connection with your camera. It's really important to have the connection.
It is, yeah.
And on the other hand, another friend of mine, which is a colorist in Italy of movie industry, he told me, just buy the camera the project give you to buy. So if there is the money for that camera, you can buy it, of course, but not that come from your pocket. So
I agree with both of them, because again, it depends on what it depends what you're shooting. If you're shooting for a client and as budget for that, I would go for that. I would definitely get the camera that you feel is going to get you the best quality that your editor can then do. But being comfortable with your own gear, you don't feel pressured that you have to keep buying the latest gear all the time. I think a lot of people, they see a new Sony, it's like, oh my God, it's amazing, it's the best thing ever. Well, they might make some changes to it, and is it better than the last one? Yes, it probably is a little bit better, but it's not going to drastically increase your image quality per se. If your technique is bad, if your lighting is bad, if your composition is bad, it doesn't matter what gear you have, it's still going to be a bad image. So I always say, focus on the technique, focus on improving, keep making those mistakes, learn from those mistakes, and slowly progress with your gear when you feel comfortable. I'm not a believer in overspending in gear just for the sake of overspending it or getting the latest gear.
I am also a professor, a teacher, and I'm doing a workshop now here in Peru in a photographic center, which is called the Centro de la Imagen, which is the most important institute of photography here. But I'm teaching them videography only with their phone.
Exactly.
iPhone, and it's amazing. You have no idea. I'm really happy about my students, but every time it's a surprise. They don't know nothing about audiovisual language, and so I teach them the basics and cinematography and the stills, the shoots, the movement of the camera, all the basic, and they just leave the technique which they can, improve with
Right,
practice.
right.
And with their creativity and a mobile phone, they can do amazing projects.
Yeah, and again, it's the technology. Think of where we were 5 years ago in technology just for the iPhone, and where we are now, just in terms of the resolution of the video, in terms of the stability, in terms of the low. I think to me the biggest thing has been the low light performance. I think the low light performance in some of these new iPhones are absolutely incredible, and I know Samsung has been doing it for a long time, but I'm shocked by that. I'm doing a project right now with an observatory, a huge telescope, and it's obviously in pitch black because you need to look up at the stars. And I'm taking photos in pitch black, and they're coming out as if the whole thing is lit up. It's quite incredible. And plus, now you can put them on gimbals and stabilizers. So again, I had someone tell me, Andre, go out and only use one lens the entire time. Like, pick a prime and just stick to that, and try and get the shots that you want with that one prime. And it seems very similar to what you're saying to your students. Just go out with one, just an iPhone, because if you can master that, then you can master all the other attachments and the wonderful zoom lenses and sensors. But it's down to the core of understanding composition, understanding your subject, understanding lighting, that is then going to decide how your end result is going to look.
Famous film director who was very eager of only using a 50 millimeter.
Yeah.
And all his crew was going crazy, like why not use other lenses? No, I just want the 50 millimeter look. I mean,
yeah,
it's really impressive what you can do with just one gear. But of course, we have to be updated all the time, looking tech review, looking the new arrival, new camera, the Blackmagic 6K, which is interesting. I don't really like to work with Blackmagic because all the thing of the post-production really make me crazy, to do the conversion, the really heavy.
People the Blackmagic, I feel like people either love it or absolutely hate it. It's there's no sort of in between. So it's interesting that you're saying that, again, as a videographer, that I'm sure you like the look and the feel of it, but it's exactly right. The color profile is wonderful, but it's just, there's just something about it. For me, I don't like shooting Sony. I don't like the menus. I find the menus really frustrating to use, but it makes wonderful images. So I think it's the same with the Blackmagic. It looks phenomenal, but just dealing with it. My guys don't particularly like using the Blackmagic. If they could, they would stick to ARRI all the way. But again, we're talking different price points, so I guess it's all relative.
I think it's important always when you are a creator, as you and me, to look at the project, to study, to analyze it, and then to think what look you want to give to the project, which kind of tonality, which kind of and then you will decide which camera is for you, for that specific project, if you have this freedom, of course.
Yeah, working backwards sometimes is the best. I mean, you imagine you're shooting a video all in black and white. How is that going to affect? If it's a monochrome, how is that, the tonality in the blacks and the whites? How is that, that dynamic range? How is that going to affect your whole look? And what's the best camera for it? So, if I
and I'm sorry.
No, please, go ahead.
They're asking to add grain, to add noises, because the cameras are so
flawless,
so bright, so perfect, so with so much details that they don't want so much details. So more and more the director are coming back to the 35 millimeters or so, are coming back to the old look, because now it's too much perfect. Unless you want to do a commercial or you want to see the little
every little speck.
Sometimes you just need to use some more vintage lenses or vintage cameras, or just push up the ISO in order to find this look, So it's a little bit of controversy.
But personally, from a photography perspective, there's nothing I detest more than noise. I can't stand it. There's something about the look, whenever I look at an image and I see a lot of noise in it, unless it's absolutely intentional, for black and whites, for example, it can give you that texture and that look and feel that works for that particular project. But for my 99% of the stuff that I do, that's the first thing I take away. I just can't stand noise. And that's maybe one of the reasons why I like shooting on a phase, because it just, shooting at 50 ISO, I try and stick to 50 ISO as much as I can. I don't even try and push it above 800 ISO. But that being the case.
Depends where you started with the analogical camera or digital camera. Which generation are you?
I started with digital.
Digital, that's why.
Yeah.
Because you started digital, all your mental and your look, because all our eyes are like an hard disk. They are going, they're keeping inside information of what we see. And if we saw all the time perfect images, really with no noises, we are getting used to it. And so we want to reproduce this. So it's all about your cultural and, grow luggage. That is,
I think you're right. And there's something that we haven't even touched upon, which we're going to need another few hours and more alcohol, a lot more alcohol, which is just getting into the whole social media aspect of it, of that. Like you said, the perception that everything is stunning and beautiful and fake, if you want to call it that, how does that influence the kind of gear that you use? I don't know if that's for me. I think even if I was shooting on film originally and I had the appreciation for film, which I do, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with having grain in it. It's just not. For my projects, I really want my images to be exactly as I saw them, but for them to be clean. I will never add noise to an image. If I wanted to add noise, I'd use a different technique for it. But if I may ask a question, because we are talking about the photography side of things, how do you integrate photography with your video projects? Because obviously for me, that goes hand in hand. A lot of times, even though I'm primarily photography, I always want to do the video, whether it's a BTS or sort of a mini documentary. How do you do it on your end, being a videographer and trying to integrate photography into it?
Yes, it's most of the time it comes naturally. The clients nowadays, they want the full package. They're not
exactly. That's what I wanted to ask.
Documentary or just for an event, video event. No, they want the full package. And so I just adapted to the evolution, and I started doing. I was originally a photographer, then I started specializing in videography, and then flying drones, and then editing, and all came together.
You have to, right.
And because I think I like to be versatile, to do the most I can, because I like to be myself, which one who shoot or decide which composition. So at the beginning, I was maybe just having more collaborators to do a specific job. But if I can, I prefer to do it myself, because I like my eyes. I like my point of view. So if I can do it by myself, I prefer to do both shooting, photography and filming.
Do you feel like struggle is not the right word to use. I apologize. I can't think of a better one. But do you feel like there's a give and take when you're taking a photo and you're thinking of the composition and the feel that you want out of that photo, as opposed to almost the same environment, the same shot, but obviously from a moving perspective, because it's a complete mind shift, right? You're telling a story in a different way. Have you ever struggled with that, or do you find that to be quite smoothless?
At the beginning, I was struggling, because most of my content or my clients wanted travel contribution, travel images. So I was like, I'm missing this because I'm making this picture. This bird is flying away, or this boat is flying away, or whatever that was moving that I could not catch in that particular moment. But if the project is different and I can take the time to do both, I don't struggle, because I enjoy it. I enjoy to do both content.
What would you choose if you could choose one? Where do you lean? Are you leaning more on the video side of things or photography, or is that a really bad question to ask?
Yes, I was just thinking about it yesterday when I was preparing my archive, because it's like when you are a multiple sportman, no? When you practice more one kind of sport, you are like putting aside the other one, so
Right.
you're more eager on one, and no, your like results are maybe
Different.
better,
Yeah.
different.
Mm-hmm.
So if I focus a lot on filmmaking, photography part is like a little bit forgotten.
On the secondary. Mm-hmm. Do you
right now I'm doing more filmmaking maybe, but it's not that true, because you see, Monday
it can change.
Tuesday I fly a drone filming for a commercial, and
Yeah.
the day after I shoot a commercial, a photography commercial. So it depends. And the same client told me, let's do a documentary. I want to do he wanted to go in the beach nearby, 3 hours from here. And there is this fisherman, because it's about the plastic. It's the World Plastic Day, So Adidas is participating in donations and doing activity to help to raise awareness about this problem, which is a very, a huge problem of the plastic in the ocean. And we were supposed to go and film these fishermen that they are like trying to change their habits and bringing back their plastic from fishing, and just give it to a foundation, and the foundation like recycle. And they use these pieces of plastic to do Adidas products. But at the end, we were run out of time, and always things changes, and so like, no, let's not do video, let's do photography. So everything changed. So it also depends on this. I think it's really depending on the situation and on the project.
Do you
I don't
feel
see you anymore.
Oh, did I just? Oh, my video just changed. Do you feel like your cinematography work has made you a better photographer, or do you feel your photography has made you a better videographer? I got you on that one.
You prepared it, huh? Because this one is yes, I think both words are complementing him itself, no? I mean, the photography and the filmmaking word is a little bit more complex, no? Because
your team is bigger. Yeah.
Team is bigger, the production is bigger, there is the pre-production, the production, post-production. Photography, okay, you can have the pre-production as well. Maybe you can do everything with a little team, with a little team. But cinematography and filmmaking has a lot of aspects, no? That you have to take care of. There's also
a lot of moving parts.
Not only the image, the sound, the image, the colors in post-production.
The talent, the catering, the permits, location scouting. It's just, there's so much.
Most of the time I am doing my script.
Yeah.
I also prepare the script.
So you really are a one-person show.
Yeah, but not for movie or commercial, just for okay, important project. Now I'm just starting with the World Food Program, a new big project. We'll go all around. Tomorrow is my first meeting. We will go around Peru to film the emergency situation of the COVID. With donation of food and implementation for preventing the spread of it, but in 4 area of Peru, no? So it's like 12 videos, something like that, and photography as well. So there I will go with 2 or 3 people, and I will be like directing and shoot, more concentrated in directing and shooting, and maybe bring along a photographer.
See, because sometimes I prefer smaller teams. I feel like you can, I've done big shoots, I've done, large teams and all that kind of prepping that needs to go along with it. But I almost prefer a project like you just said, where you just go with two of your people that you know very well, they know you, they know how you work, they can be very it doesn't feel like it has that pressure on you as much, just because you're in a more comfortable environment, and you can just be more fluid with what you're trying to do and get a little bit more, even though yes, you're taking cues from the client, but it can just be more malleable, I think. So personally, I prefer shoots along those lines. But so you've answered what's.
It's a big trade-off. Sometimes I'm like, oh yes, I would like to be part of this movie, you know, to be this director of photography or be part of the camera team. But then it's a long. You're really sacrificing a lot.
Yeah.
You are learning a lot, but you're sacrificing a lot when you are in big project, because you're just focusing on your special task.
You're one person in 100, 1,000. Yeah.
You don't have so much freedom, but on the other hand, you can learn a lot.
Yeah.
So I did this at the beginning, you know, I tried to learn as much as I could in the set and in the film industry and the commercial industry. But then I realized that I am much more happy with my clients and my projects. That brought me until Nigeria, Rio de Janeiro, France. I mean,
yeah.
I managed to do a lot of things without being part of a film industry or, you know, a really huge project.
But like you said, it's
project just with small team.
Right. So, but also, like you said, and again, for anyone that's listening as well, it really is that trade-off. I think it's important it's crucial to do both, because like you said, you're going to learn a lot that you may not even realize until your next shoot or the shoot afterwards, that you sort of remember, oh, that we did this and it didn't work, and why didn't it work? Okay, we're gonna make adjustments for it. So it's just part of that progress and your creative progress to keep learning, keep making mistakes, keep trying to improve and get better. So if you just did one thing, then I'm sure it's wonderful and it's great, but you're just not going to be exposed to some of the things that's going to push you further as a creative. So I'm sure you encourage everyone to try and explore as much as they can until they really find their niche, and you know, just sort of keep at it, especially now more than ever with COVID. I struggled to find creativity. Did you struggle at any point during this time, or were you kind of swamped and busy with clients where they still wanted you even during COVID? Did you slow down at all?
Yes, no, that's why in the presentation I had prepared, whether the internet was working, something I did during the first part of the pandemic, because there is no limitation of creativity. You always have to push yourself even when you feel depressed and you are engaged in your house. So I did 2 projects. One was just, I was allowed here in Peru to go out just to buy food with my bicycle or by foot. So like in a neighborhood, you could even go from a neighborhood to another. You just needed to stick in the area, no? So it was every time I was going out, I was with my camera, like filming a shot of life, of people like queuing, and I did a little documentary about it that a lot of people loved it, because I shared it with my friends and people that was living this situation in other country. And I was really happy to have done it, because on another routine day, I wouldn't think about that, no? But look what I could create by being
right.
No?
And it's a unique situation that, who knows, may never happen again, or it can happen again in 5 years' time. Who knows? You did it. You saw the opportunity and you went for it. I think that's a lot of people were too scared to even do that. So I think that's great that you were able to do that.
No, I was so happy. You know, I was like, yes, I can like half an hour or 1 hour or whatever it took me to do the shopping.
Yeah.
And it was crazy to see also the face. You know, I was like doing close up and all in slow motion, because I had no stabilizer, because you're not allowed to film, you know. I was like doing with one hand I was cycling, on the other I was with my camera trying to quite crazy. But I made it, and the result is there, because it's really emotional. It's what I was feeling and what people were feeling. They were looking at me.
It's raw,
like, scared, like, old lady, like somebody was helping this old lady doing shopping, others were having plastic things because we still didn't have the mask at the beginning here. So it was really
it's crazy.
so much vulnerability of the people, and also uncertainty about the future and fears, all of this.
No, just fear for the, yeah, exactly. Fear for the unknown. We didn't know at the time what was happening, but hopefully slowly we're coming out of it. Hopefully things will improve in Peru, and you continue to do more work, not only in Peru, but internationally, and same for us as well here as more vaccines are coming through. But we're coming up to the hour mark, and I just wanted to give the opportunity for everyone that's still here with us, if they have any questions for you. Let's see if they can, if we can throw some out there. Someone's asking how they can contact you for work. They would like to know your social media. So we will make that available for everyone to be able to see that. So you obviously had an impact on definitely one person for sure. If anyone has any questions, please shoot them through. We have Johnny on, he's on the back end of things. He's checking all the questions. If we don't hear anything else, I will ask if you can, while we wait for that, if you can choose one piece of gear. You're about to go in the jungle in Peru. By the way, I've been to Peru a long time ago. It was
really
12 years ago, it must have been, and I loved it. It was absolutely fabulous. I would love to go back. But if you were going, let's say, in the jungle, and you can take one piece of gear with you, what would you choose? Which lens? One, you can either video or photo, and then you can choose one lens. What would you choose?
A versatile one. I mean, definitely would be a versatile, not a still lens, no? So 35, 70, 24, 105. I wouldn't go for
big heavy zoom.
Big heavy zoom, because otherwise I would, a closed shoot, I couldn't make it. Even photography or filmmaking is the same. 50 millimeter, I only would do portrait and everything. A lot of deep depth of field. It would be out of focus. And if I would go for a wide angle, okay, that would be interesting, especially in the jungle. But I couldn't, shoot the bird or the animal that is going out of the dolphin. I had the opportunity to see the pink dolphin.
The pink dolphins, that's right. Yeah.
They're very rare. No?
Because the pink dolphins there live in freshwater, if I'm not mistaken, right? Are they the ones that live in the freshwater?
In freshwater.
They go between both the fresh and salt. Is that right? Or am I thinking of the crocodiles?
Yes, but I was in near Iquitos, in the river. I don't know if it was fresh water. It was polluted, that's for sure. But it's a lot of minery work,
I think that's what's really special about those pink dolphins, is that they have the ability to go from salts to fresh, because they're amongst the mangroves.
We were going to a part where the mountain it's virgin. It's not, no human are there. To do some of the fishing, to film some of the fishing for the Ministry of Education here. And suddenly we see the dolphin. This is the dolphin. It was very rare for them as well.
Very rare, yeah.
So we started to film, and it was really amazing, to have the possibility of this shoot. And also during the pandemic, some of my clients asked me to edit. And I had a project that they had to promote, to make like a video of this Italian entrepreneur here that is selling products at all the hotel of the Peru, and they were all closed. So he wanted us to say something like, okay, let's hold on, we will be back, and showing the best part of Peru. Unfortunately, I had all my archives, or video footage of all over Peru. So thanks to that, I could make the video. Otherwise, it would have been impossible without moving
it would be 10 seconds long. Absolutely.
From my home. But yes, that is crazy. And we cannot see my reel, but maybe I can share some pictures just to close.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah,
the,
go for it.
What a shame that the video is not.
We'll get it uploaded so people can click on it, or they can just look you up. They can look you up and find you on Vimeo. I saw that you know, you have a majority of your reels are up on Vimeo.
Okay, cool, great. I have no idea how to. I have to open all the.
Just go to. Yep, share screen.
Yeah, okay. No, because picture by picture is not.
Oh yeah, it's.
Can you see it?
Yep, there we go. I can see it.
Yeah, great. So this was the previous shooting I did with Adidas in this like lagoon at 4,500 meters of altitude.
That's awesome.
That's awesome. The color of it's crazy.
Yeah.
And these girls as well running over there. This is all the way up with it. So I take advantage of the going up to do that. A close up of him. It was about their products, no?
The new hiking shoes, yeah.
And he had brought everything, his bicycle, so he's a sportsman here. So we played a lot with that. But it's amazing, no? The scenery.
Oh, it's just incredible. Yeah, Peru's. I've been very fortunate. I've traveled a lot, but Peru's definitely one that I really. I never like to go back to the same place because there's so many that I want to see. But Peru's definitely one that I would love to go back. We did the 5 a.m. Machu Picchu watching the sunrise, which again I know it's traditional and whatever, but it was still a pretty incredible.
No, it's amazing. And you have to go there if you haven't been. I mean, it's part of the going to Rome, and you don't see the Colosseum.
Right. And the hike up to Mount Huayna Picchu was with my huge bag. That was a nightmare.
This was the first job ever I did here in Peru with the National Geographic. It was this Spanish production. And we went in these ruins that are called Chavin de Huantar, and we did almost all the movie and the picture of the movie under these tunnels. Like, it was really crazy.
Oh, wow.
Really crazy.
And it was during COVID too.
Really, and it was this this prehistoric Inca culture. Pre-Inca culture. This is the priest. Yes, the priest. So they were reproducing all the story, that was great.
Wow.
Really an amazing production. And this is a very famous sculpture that normally is with plastic, with glass, and they had to remove
covering.
But we had to ask the permit to the.
That's incredible.
So that's one of the advantage of our work, to be able to enter in this really difficult and really inaccessible sites that are amazing, and have the privilege to film them. This is in the desert near Lima, and this is a real how you call it, snake. 2 real snakes
on the top, on the head.
2 real ones.
That's incredible. Yeah, the culture there is just, culture is so wonderful, and the history and the traditions that they have is really stunning. Yeah,
really. So much to discover here.
I know. We need another 2-3 hours just to discuss some of the projects that you've done, but unfortunately we've come to the end, and I just wanted to say thank you so much for taking the time to join us. I really appreciate it, and I admire your work, and I can't wait to see the new work that you're about to be doing. Please share it with us. Send it in, because I think it's important work that you do, and especially now during COVID, like I said, trying to be as creative as we can and keeping busy to stay mentally sane is really so crucial. So just wanted to say thank you for joining us, and we'd love to have you back. Whenever you have some new products and new stuff that you have worked on, we'd love to have you discuss it.
Thank you. And let me know if you try the Blackmagic 6K, how it goes.
Oh, we will. I think we might be leaning towards the Komodo, quite frankly. I just that Super 35.
A better choice.
Yeah, it's just flexible. It's a red, and I know people are on two sides of it, but I think it's a better quality. I think it's a better sensor, especially for some of the work that we're going to be doing. So we're building a whole kit with it, with an SR2 and scaffolding for cars, because I want to do some car to car stuff. But this isn't about me. This is about you, and we'll definitely we'll discuss gear next time for sure. Absolutely.
Thank you for having me, and
no worries.
Wonderful. And everybody who wants to speak with me, just send me a message, and I will be happy to.
Yeah, and we'll provide all your social media and your website and everything else that you'd like for us to send out to everyone, so they can look for you and they can hire you, and that's how the world goes around, and we make more beautiful stuff. So
thank you to the guys of F-Stop. Have a wonderful day. Thank you guys. Bye.
Have a good one, guys. Thank you. Till the next one. Next one's in a few weeks' time. We'll get you updates on the next one coming up. So stay tuned. Thank you.